Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, now former sheriff, who was recently known for leaking the Madeline Soto crime scene images to Instagram from his office, was arrested on June 5, 2025, in connection with a federal racketeering investigation after a lengthy investigation involving a confidential informant into an alleged illegal gambling operation which generated more than $20 million, which operated out of Osceola and Lake counties. One of the locations listed in the charging documents by the state prosecutors was a Kissimmee venue known as the Fusion Social Club, also referred to as the Eclipse Social Club, located at 4561 West Earlo Bronson Memorial Highway in Kissimmee. The club operated from June 2022 to August 2024. On the TikTok page of the Eclipse Social Club, it promoted illegal gambling, with the TikTok page claiming the club was a casino with a lot, fish tables, and computer games with daily promotions. Videos showed the wall of the building with around 20 video slots and other gaming machines. The former club is now a Mexican restaurant called Red Star Restaurant and Hookah Bar. After the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, suspended Lopez on June 5th, names were revealed who also were involved in the gambling operation. The co-defendants who were arrested were Sharon Fedrick and Carol Coate, and Sheldon Weatherholt, and Ying Zhang, who had not been arrested like the other two connected to Lopez at that point. Weatherholt, Zhang, and Lopez were accused of keeping the gambling house, unlawfully having slot machines, and setting up or promoting a lottery. State prosecutors said Lopez and Zhang, who went by Kate, were also involved with money laundering, so disguising the money collected from this illegal gambling operation. Investigators say the operation started after Lopez took office in 2020. He allegedly allowed gambling operations to be set up in his county in exchange for cash. They claimed Lopez played a significant role in the expansion and protection of the illegal enterprise, using his sheriff's office to shield the operation from law enforcement. On June 5th, Nirva Rodriguez, the executive director at Osceola County Sheriff's Office, who had no law enforcement background, was terminated. Rodriguez said she was an employee at will, meaning she can be terminated without cause. She denied any affiliation with the case. She was in the media previously in 2024 for the controversy she caused when she took a selfie with the man accused of murdering Madeline Soto, Stephen Stearns. On June 5th, Governor Ron DeSantis appointed Florida Highway Patrol's Christopher Blackman as Osceola County Interim Sheriff. On June 5th, Marcos Lopez was charged with 1 count of racketeering and 1 count of conspiracy to commit racketeering. On June 6th, Marcos Lopez appeared in court and pleaded not guilty. His bond was set at $1 million. Video footage was released on social media from the Eclipse Social Club, which was listed in court documents.
My name is Emily Currington. I'm a county judge who is here to do your first appearance hearing. There are 3 issues that I am here to decide. First, I will advise you of the charge or charges against you. You were here on a warrant that was issued by a judge who's already found probable cause to believe that an offense was committed and that you committed it. But I will advise you of those charges. I will then consider the issue of bond. In determining whether to set a monetary bond, how much, and any conditions of bond, I will consider a number of factors, including the nature of the offense charged, the potential penalty, whether you were on probation or out on bond for another offense at the time the new offense was allegedly committed, your ties to the community, your prior criminal record, your financial status, your employment history, any record of failing to appear at prior court proceedings, and the nature and probability that you might present a danger to the community. The third issue I will address with you is the matter of counsel. Your attorney, who has announced her name and presence for the record, is sitting to my left. She's not able to get into the jail in the secure part of the jail where you are, so she came to my office and she is here for that purpose. This proceeding today is being recorded. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say could be used against you in later proceedings. You have the right to communicate with your lawyer, with your family, and your friends. Reasonable means will be giving you the opportunity to do that. Can you raise your right hand so I can place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Thank you. Could you tell me your name, please?
Marcos R. Lopez.
Mr. Lopez, you were here this morning in Lake County case number 2025 CF 1479. It's a warrant that was issued for you for one count of racketeering and one count of conspiracy to commit racketeering. Attorney for statewide, I believe, is here. Would you like to be heard as to the setting of bond and any bond conditions? I know you filed a motion about the source of funds today, so if you would include that in your remarks, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, Your Honor, Panayota Papakos for the Office of Statewide Prosecution. As far as conditions, the state would be seeking an electronic GPS monitor as a condition of any release. We would ask that the court order the defendant to turn over his passport to the clerk of court. We would ask that he forfeit any and all firearms in his possession. And further, Your Honor, at this time, the defendant is charged with 2 first-degree felonies, so the state would be seeking a $600,000 bond as to each count for a total of $1.2 million. And I will go into essentially the criteria that the court has previously announced. First, the nature and the circumstances of the offenses charged justify this amount of a bond in this case. The state has filed an affidavit. I believe that the clerk filed it in separate sections because it is 255 pages. And so I provided it to Your Honor's judicial assistant this morning. And just some highlights that the allegations in that affidavit, the detail an extreme breach of public trust, the circumstances surrounding his misuse of office as the sheriff of Osceola County are very serious. Again, there's direct evidence in that affidavit of ongoing illegal enterprise. The weight of the evidence includes that the defendant obtained between, at the very least, $600,000 to $700,000 since 2020 from this illegal enterprise in cash payments. There is evidence in the affidavit of a wire transfer to a bank account he controlled through a fictitious business name. There's direct text message evidence from both WhatsApp and cell phone applications of his involvement in this enterprise dating back to 2019. Beginning on page 110 through page 148 of the affidavit, there are numerous text messages from the defendant directly to co-conspirators. The first co-conspirator being Miss Zhang, also goes by Kate. Those direct text messages evidence that he was using his influence as the sheriff even prior to election, indicating he was very respected in his community to facilitate the illegal enterprise. There's screenshots of slot machines and things of that nature in those text messages. Of note, I would direct the court to page 175, where the defendant was actively sourcing new locations for illegal businesses to come in from Lake County to Osceola County. That began in 2021. And then further on, beginning on page 229, there are text messages between the defendant and co-conspirator Krishna D. O'Karen. Your Honor can see some of the affidavit is redacted, but there are photos of active law enforcement officers that have responded to those locations. I'm sorry, there's some audio interference. There are photos evidencing the defendant's direct involvement and also using his influence to potentially obstruct criminal investigation into these businesses in Osceola County. So that would be the first 2 factors, the nature and circumstances, and then the weight of the evidence, again, evidenced in that detailed affidavit that was completed both by HSI task officers and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So there was 2 co-affiants in that case, with the understanding that this is a joint investigation. The defendant does not have any ties to Lake County that we are aware of. He has been suspended from office by the executive order of the governor. And moving on to subsection F, the source of funds, the state has filed a motion this morning, and I've provided it to the judicial assistant in its entirety. But essentially, this is a motion where we would be asking the court to inquire into the source of any funds that the defendant would use to post bail, or that you'd be using for collateral. Essentially, asking the court that prior to posting that the defendant show that these are not funds derived from any illegal enterprise or any illegal proceeds. And I would rely on the written motion, essentially, that the statute allows the court to conduct that inquiry. And so we would ask that any release be stayed until the defendant meets his burden of showing that those funds are from non-criminal sources.
Anything else?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Abraham?
Your Honor, $600,000 is a very high bond for the nature of this crime. Mr. Lopez has no criminal history. He has extreme ties to the community in Osceola County, which is still within the state of Florida and not very far from Lake County. He does have a family. He was publicly elected for 2 different terms as a sheriff's office. He does have funds from working at the sheriff's office. This is a white collar crime, a non-dangerous crime. There is no indication that Mr. Lopez would be a flight risk in any way, or that he would not attend any of his court hearings. He has employment history. He does have financial resources. He has family and friends that are supportive to him as well. We would ask that this bond be set in the amount of $25,000 in each count. As state indicated, he no longer has his position at this time, so a $600,000 bond for each count would be tantamount to no bond at this point. When speaking with his family, there was indication that $25,000 on each count would be affordable to the family. Although Mr. Lopez has a title, we would ask the court to still look at Mr. Lopez as a regular individual and not just because he has a sheriff's title that he should be treated any differently. This is a racketeering charge. These are first-degree felonies. We'd be asking that his bond be set in a reasonable amount that would be affordable to his family, and that each count would be set in the amount of $25,000. In terms of conditions, there is no indication that Mr. Lopez would be a flight risk in any way. Mr. Lopez would agree to turn in his passport. In terms of having a GPS, if Your Honor would like for him to have a curfew, I believe Mr. Lopez would comply with that. I don't see the need for a GPS. This is not a violent crime. He is not a danger to society. This is a white collar money crime at this point. GPS monitor, defense would argue, is not necessary at this time. He would comply with the conditions of no contact with any co-defendants in the case and surrendering his passports. Again, with the firearm condition, this is a non-violent crime. He's not a danger in any way. He doesn't pose a danger to the community. So we'd just be asking Your Honor to set conditions and a bond in a reasonable amount. Thank you.
Anything else?
Your Honor, briefly, we have HSI Task Force Officer Frank Tegler, as well as FDLE Inspector James Frank was on the line. There, in the course of this investigation, they determined that the defendant has traveled to Puerto Rico and there are ties to Puerto Rico. So that was the reasoning behind asking for, first of all, with the understanding that it's still the United States, we were asking for a monitor.
Anything else?
And then no contact with the co-defendants. I don't believe that I said that.
You didn't, but Ms. Abraham mentioned it and I had it in my notes to impose that as a condition. Anything else, Ms. Abraham?
Just because he has ties to Puerto Rico or that he's been to Puerto Rico still does not indicate that he would be a flight risk or not attend any of his court hearings that are required of him. So we would be arguing against the GPS monitor as a condition. In terms, and Your Honor, my apologies, in terms of the money income, he has been working at the sheriff's office, so he does have legitimate funds to be able to use to bond himself out.
All right. I am going to set bond in the amount of $500,000 on each of the 2 counts for a total of $1 million. I will require Mr. Lopez be fitted with a GPS monitor prior to his release from custody should he post the bond that I just set within 72 hours of release from custody. You'll be required to surrender your passport to the clerk's office for safekeeping, Mr. Lopez. You will be required to surrender any firearms in your possession to law enforcement. Which agency, Ms. Papakos, do you think would be most appropriate? Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what I assumed, to FDLE, and I will put that in my order that within 72 hours of any release from custody, all firearms in Mr. Lopez's your possession will have to be surrendered to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. You may not have any contact whatsoever with any named co-defendant in the case, and I will make sure their names are in the order. Your next court date for right now is June the 30th, so I'm sure your attorney will be in touch with you. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Is that the
Alright.
bond?
I'm sorry, somebody asked a question, I think. I'm not sure who.
How do I start the bond process?
So your attorney is likely to come talk to you in just a few minutes. She's probably going to come across the street, Mr. Lopez, and do that. If that doesn't happen, they're going to let you reach out to your family and to your friends. Also near the phones over there is a list of bail bonding agencies. You might want to try that as well. But I think your attorney is likely going to leave my office here shortly and come talk to you. So you can chat with her whenever she comes over in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, if I may.
Certainly.
The NIMBY hearing is not necessary.
I am going to grant the state's motion as far as the source of funds goes pursuant to Florida statute 903.0462F. So the source of the funds will need to be shown to the state. If that's not satisfactory, you all will need to have a hearing in order for Judge Welke, who this case has been assigned to determine if the source of the funds has been appropriately shown. If the state agrees, you all can file a stipulation to that.
Your Honor, may
Yes,
I
Your Honor.
request that a hearing be set on Monday?
I would not have the jurisdiction in order to do that, and I do not have access to Judge Welke's calendar. You all are more than welcome to reach out to see if he can set a hearing today. I think that would be the best thing under the circumstances. I don't know what his schedule looks like, but I'm sure he'll get you hearing time as soon as he can.
Thank you, Judge.
Certainly.
That is all I have.
On June 9th, the two co-conspirators Sharon Fedrick and Carol Coate, who were neighbors, were arrested and charged. One of the co-conspirators, Sharon Fedrick, posted her $300,000 bond and was released from jail. On the same day, on June 9th, information was released about Marcos Lopez in relation to financial disclosures in regards to his assets. Lopez reported earning $250,215 as income as sheriff, in addition to $20,000 in Florida pension and $23,000 in military pension money. He did not disclose any other money. It was revealed in 2024 from the disclosures that he had residential homes worth more than $1 million, and he also said he had about $206,000 in his bank accounts. He also listed his assets in 2023, which were more than $500,000. Lopez said he had $150,000, including a home worth $480,000. On June 10th, Lopez's attorney, Mary Ibrahim, filed a motion to lower his bond amount and to modify the GPS condition of his release, and she also filed a cancellation notice for the hearing, which was meant to occur on the same day. On the night of June 10th, a third co-defendant, Sheldon Weatherholt, turned himself in. On June 11th, Sheldon Weatherholt posted his $100,000 bond and was released.
I have never met that man.
Never met Marcos
Never
Lopez.
met that man.
Flustered and disheveled, 58-year-old Sheldon Weatherholt now out after posting a $100,000 bond.
I can't do this right now, please.
You intend to plead not guilty?
Of course.
He's charged with racketeering, accused of managing Fusion Social Club in Kissimmee.
All I did was licenses and leases. This was not anything that I thought was anything that it turned out to be.
Investigators say it's an illegal gambling operation with ties to suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez. Court records say Lopez engaged with the operation for campaign contributions, personal payments, and kept his deputies away from the business.
I never met the man. I don't know who the man is. Please leave me alone, please.
Weatherholt claims he didn't know of any illegal actions and says he never met Lopez, who investigators say protected the illegal operation from deputies. Investigators say the operation raked in over $21 million. Weatherholt says he only saw small amounts of money and feels he's a fall guy in this operation.
I'll tell you exactly what I told the investigators, $300 a month. $300 a month. That was just to supplement my income to support my family.
Weatherholt is the third defendant to bond out in this case on those serious felony charges.
I feel like my whole world is crumbling down right now.
On June 13th, a week after suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez was booked into the Lake County Jail, WESH 2 Investigates learned that a multi-agency raid in 2024 shut down the casino at the center of the state's racketeering case. In the 3 years before the arrest of Lopez on racketeering and conspiracy to commit racketeering charges, records from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office showed deputies responded to the Eclipse Social Club on Erlo Bronson Memorial Highway in Kissimmee nearly 50 times. On June 23rd, the estranged wife of Marcos Lopez, Robin Severance Lopez, was arrested. She was charged with conspiracy to use investment proceeds from racketeering. On June 24th, Robin Lopez had her first appearance in court, where bond was set at $400,000.
Robin Lopez, the estranged wife of suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, is waiting to walk out of jail tonight. Good evening, I'm Jesse Pagan.
And I'm Michelle Imparato. She was given a bond in her first appearance in court this morning. She is facing a felony charge of conspiracy to use or invest proceeds from racketeering. West 2's Haley Crumbleholm is live from the jail tonight, where neither Lopez has yet to bond out. Haley.
So Robin Lopez received a bond of $400,000 today, which means she could post it and come out of these doors behind me here. But her attorney argued in court today it could be difficult for her to post a bond that high, instead asking for something closer to the $50,000 bonds that some of her co-defendants have received. But the state argued that those co-defendants haven't profited from the alleged gambling operation the way they're alleging the Lopezes have. The door to the jail opened Tuesday night, but neither Marcos or Robin Lopez came out from behind it. That's despite Robin Lopez receiving bond Tuesday morning at an amount that seemed to shock her.
The court is going to set a monetary bond in the amount of $400,000 for Ms. Severance Lopez.
An assistant statewide prosecutor laid out their case.
The evidence against her, Your Honor, is compelling and in large part irrefutable.
And Robin Lopez's defense attorney laid out her own.
The weight of the evidence against her is not great. It's not evident.
The state is alleging Robin Lopez helped to facilitate the movement of illicit money and the receipt of illicit payments from other co-conspirators to Lopez, which the state alleges is believed to have reached at least $600,000 to $700,000 from the multi-million-dollar enterprise.
Our evidence includes witness testimony, bank records, text messages, and email correspondence, a small sample of which is offered in the defendant's probable cause affidavit.
Lopez's attorney claimed the state's evidence came down to a single email in which Lopez forwarded a W-9, a tax form often used by independent contractors, to an alleged co-conspirator.
It was a one-time email that was sent per Marcos Lopez. That's indicated in the text of the email. There is also no indication here that she joined this criminal enterprise.
Though the state said the Lopezes have been separated since at least 2019, they tried to paint a picture of the continued connection between the two, saying Robin Lopez offered a property to put towards collateral for her husband's bond.
They do not operate as a married couple. I would suggest to this court that the stronger relationship between them is that of co-conspirators.
A characterization Robin Lopez's attorney fought against.
The reality of that is that they have a child together and they are co-parents. Ms. Severance Lopez is not a co-conspirator. She is a co-parent. Of course, she doesn't want the father of her child to remain in jail if he doesn't need to.
In arguing for bond to be set at $400,000, the state alleged Robin Lopez has significant financial means, saying when she was arrested Monday, she had two bank receipts showing two separate deposits totaling about $177,000, made around a week after Marcos Lopez was arrested. Robin Lopez's attorney argued her client is employed but does not have significant financial resources. She asked for a lower bond and minimal conditions for pretrial release.
On June 25th, it was revealed that a man named Krishna Deokaran was the owner of the Eclipse Social Club in Kissimmee.
All right, let's now go to West 2 Investigates Justin Shecker. And Justin, you have new information on another person whose name has been brought up in this investigation but has not been arrested.
That's right, Nancy. Good afternoon to you. Krishna Deokaran has not been charged nor arrested in connection to the state's racketeering case, but West 2 Investigates uncovered court records alleging he was the owner of a casino in Kissimmee at the center of the state's investigation that landed the suspended sheriff behind bars. The statewide prosecutor named him during the initial court appearance for suspended Osceola Sheriff Marcos Lopez on June 6th.
And then further on, beginning on page 229, there are text messages between the defendant and co-conspirator Krishna Karen.
That same co-conspirator was again mentioned during Tuesday's virtual hearing by the defense attorney for Lopez's estranged wife.
She denied knowing somebody named Krishna, but as soon as they showed her the photograph of this individual purported to be named Krishna, she admitted that she knew the person in that photo.
Through a search of Osceola County court records, WESH 2 Investigates found a civil complaint for forfeiture of assets filed last September in the 9th Judicial Circuit in the amount of $138,856 and for property impounded at 4561 West Erlo Bronson Memorial Highway in Kissimmee. That is the same address where statewide prosecutors say Lopez and his co-defendants operated the Eclipse Social Club as an illegal gambling house with slot machines. The civil complaint goes on to say the monies deposited within the machines were collected, counted, and given to Krishna Karen. In the affidavit in support of forfeiture, an agent from the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigations writes, an open internet search of the location revealed a social media TikTok page for the Eclipse, which advertised were a casino with a lot, fish tables, and computer games with daily promotions. Starting in July 2023, the document describes how undercover agents began visiting Eclipse and playing the slot and gaming machines they found inside. Photos of cash-out vouchers and money are included in the affidavit. As WESH 2 Investigates previously reported, a multi-agency raid shut down the casino in August 2024. The affidavit includes summaries of interviews investigators conducted with two of Lopez's co-defendants, Sharon Fedrick and Sheldon Weatherholt. Fedrick said she met with Karen every other week at his home in Orange County or a business in Lake County to give him money from Eclipse that was as much as $200,000. While the suspended Osceola County sheriff is not named in this investigative report, the affidavit says Chris told Sharon they did not need to worry about law enforcement at the Eclipse.
You want to know how much Chris paid me? You want to know how much Chris paid me? I'll tell you exactly what I told the investigators, $300 a month.
When interviewed in September 2024, Weatherholt told state and federal investigators he knew there was an investigation into Chris Karen and that Chris is short for Krishna. One of the agent's bullet points from the Weatherholt interview states, Chris is the guy that has all the connections and is at the top of the food chain. And today I tried calling the number listed for Christian Karen in those court records, but that number was disconnected. The original press release from Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier on the day that Marcos Lopez was arrested says, quote, the investigation is ongoing. We're live in Lake County. I'm Justin Shecker. WESH 2 Investigates.
Marcos Lopez is approaching 3 weeks in the Lake County jail. He has yet to post his $1 million bond. Lopez must prove he's not using funds from criminal sources.
On June 26th, Marcos Lopez was released on bond 3 weeks after he was arrested on June 5th.
Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez is no longer an inmate at the Lake County Jail. WESH 2 investigative reporter Justin Shecker broke the news about the judge granting Lopez permission to bond out.
He's outside the Lake County Jail now with what's next for the suspended sheriff and his estranged wife.
The defense attorneys for Marcos Lopez will now focus on how they plan to defend him against his felony charges in court, while his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez, is still locked up here in the Lake County Jail. Her attorney tells WESH 2 News she's hoping to learn more about the state's evidence in the racketeering case. As his defense attorneys escorted him into a truck waiting outside the jail Thursday night, suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez didn't say anything to reporters. But WESH 2 spoke exclusively with one of the lawyers defending him against racketeering and conspiracy charges.
Very long process, very dragged out. Took some time, but we achieved what we needed to, and we're happy that we did that thus far.
While the suspended sheriff is spending his first full day out of jail, his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez, is still behind bars. She also needs to prove to the state she has sufficient legal funds to post her $400,000 bond.
They do not operate as a married couple. I would suggest to this court that the stronger relationship between them is that of co-conspirators.
Friday afternoon, Mrs. Lopez's attorney, Michelle Yard, told WESH 2 she's only read the 6-page arrest affidavit for her client. She's filed this notice of discovery because she wants to review the sealed 255-page arrest affidavit for the other defendants. She says she wants to learn more about the allegations of Robin's involvement in the conspiracy to commit racketeering.
she is not charged with substantive racketeering. And we know that's because there's not a pattern of racketeering here that can be proven. There's not more than one incident that could qualify as racketeering activity.
During Tuesday's hearing, Yard mentioned a Christmas party photograph with the Lopez couple and Krishna Diakaran. The state has not charged him in the criminal racketeering case. According to an Osceola County civil forfeiture complaint WESH 2 Investigates uncovered, Diakaran was the owner of the Eclipse Social Club in Kissimmee. In court documents, statewide prosecutors described that business as an illegal gambling house with slot machines. The suspended sheriff is not mentioned in the investigative report from the civil case, but one of the agent's bullet points from an interview with Lopez's co-defendant Sheldon Weatherholt states, "Chris is the guy that has all the connections and is at the top of the food chain." An attorney Yard has waived the arraignment for Robin Severance Lopez. She also filed a written plea of not guilty on her behalf. The estranged wife of the suspended Osceola County Sheriff will now spend her 5th night here in the Lake County Jail. Reporting in Lake County, I'm Justin Shecker, WESH 2 News.
And after his release Thursday night, Lopez has to surrender his passport and any guns he owns. He's also been fitted with a GPS monitor. The judge's order doesn't restrict his travel.
On July 7th, the estranged wife of Marcos Lopez, Robin Severance Lopez, bonded out of jail. On July 11th, WESH 2 revealed new information about the accused Yingjiang, who goes by Kate.
The state has accused her of being part of the illegal gambling ring conspiracy that landed suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez behind bars. Now WESH 2 Investigates is uncovering more information about the co-defendant, Ying Zhang, the only one who has not been booked into the Lake County Jail. WESH 2 investigative reporter Justin Shecker is live for us in Orlando at one of Kate's businesses, Kylan Realty. Justin, what else have you learned about her?
Well, Stuart, first off, we only know this co-defendant's name because when Governor DeSantis suspended Sheriff Lopez, he included this unredacted court document displaying her name. Now, WESH 2 Investigates has learned 2 contractors from this business filed civil complaints against Ying Zhang, and now Orange County deputies have opened a separate criminal investigation. Her name is now blacked out because she's the only one of the 6 co-defendants who has not been arrested.
The first co-conspirator being Miss Zhang, also goes by Kate.
The statewide prosecutors say they have numerous text messages between Kate and the suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez.
Those direct text messages evidence that he was using his influence as the sheriff even prior to election, indicating he was very respected in his community to facilitate the illegal enterprise. There's screenshots of slot machines and things of that nature in those text messages.
In the state's document laying out 26 predicate incidents for bringing racketeering charges, prosecutors say Lopez and Kate engaged in money laundering in October 2019. After the arrest of his estranged wife, the statewide prosecutor said they have a 2019 email between Kate and Robin Lopez containing a W-9 tax form. Mrs. Lopez's defense attorney Michelle Yard says her client had nothing to do with a conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling enterprise.
The case is going to be progressing now with or without Kate.
A source told WESH 2 Investigates Kate is believed to be out of the country and living in China. On Colonial Drive near Pine Hills in Orange County, Kate ran Kylan Realty with Julius Melendez. He's the former Osceola County School Board member who is Lopez's campaign manager during his first run for sheriff in 2020. Melendez has not been charged in connection to the state's racketeering case. The Orange County Sheriff's Office provided us this incident report filed in June. Deputies are investigating. Melendez claiming Kate forged his signature on complaints from state business regulators. They were sent to Kylan Property Management in late May. Melendez writes, "I did not sign either of the documents. This is very alarming since this is a formal complaint by the state of Florida, and I am unaware of how many other documents were signed on my behalf without my knowledge." WESH 2 Investigates uncovered 2 civil complaints filed against Kate in Orange County in 2023. 2 independent contractors from Kylan Realty accused her of fraud and breach of contract. Last November, the judge entered final orders that Kate owes those 2 plaintiffs a combined $300,000. The full extent of Kate's role in the alleged illegal gambling ring is in the sealed 255-page affidavit, which Attorney Yard has read.
There is certainly a very thorough investigation that has been completed in the last couple of years on these alleged gambling establishments and their ties to the other co-defendants.
And we should mention the United States does not have an extradition treaty with China, where Kate is believed to be right now. I did reach out to Julius Melendez requesting an interview today, but did not hear back.
On February 26, 1992, Ruth Hout was murdered. She disappeared that evening from her chiropractic office in Kissimmee, Florida, and her body was found the next day in an orange grove near St. Cloud. Her death was officially ruled a homicide. Curtis Huff Jr. of Vero Beach is the suspect in her cold case, and he is the suspect in 3 other unsolved murders which occurred in Florida in the same year, 1992. Ruth Hout's murder occurred in Osceola County, and for many years her great-nephew Stephen Madonna has tried to persevere and put pressure on the former sheriff Marcos Lopez to arrest the suspected killer. Marcos Lopez said he didn't think Curtis Huff Jr. was the perpetrator and did not allow volunteers, outside agencies, and cold case detectives to help solve the case. The reasons why he did not allow them may now be obvious. Hopefully now he's been replaced as sheriff, justice will eventually come for Ruth Hout and the other suspected victims of the alleged serial killer.